Time to work, time to relax, time to reflect.
In late 2017, this mysterious 10-second video was uploaded to YouTube by a man named Jschlatt. While the video initially seemed confusing, it turned out to be the first clue to an ARG that was solved in just under 30 minutes. However, after a few years on the internet, the video is unlisted and it's become impossible to solve. Before we dive into the logistics of the puzzle, I'll briefly explain what the background depicts and where the voice clip comes from. Before finding the actual source, I theorized the backdrop to be an iPhone in a rather compromising position. Having said that, it was quite challenging to find where the clip of the man saying,
"Time to work, time to relax, time to reflect"
could be from. The first time I looked, all I could uncover was this clip from a music festival, but it was posted in 2019, 2 years after transmission. Then, while doing research for this video, I couldn't just leave it at that, so I looked again. This time I found a script to a movie named Moonwalk 1 detailing the events of the Apollo 11 mission, and there was one line that stood out to me. Luckily, I was able to find the full movie on YouTube, and at 53 minutes and 16 seconds, the narrator says this:
"Time to work, time to relax, time to reflect."
Now, we not only know where the voice clip's from, but also that the shape was in fact not an iPhone and rather a window on the Apollo 11 spacecraft. Why did James use this voice clip? Well, I reckon that he didn't use it because he liked the movie, but because that sample was also used in a song called TSBOL by Robert Miles. I won't play it here for copyright reasons, but it definitely sounds like something Jonathan would listen to. Now that we know where the clips are from, I can show you what part of the puzzle I've been able to solve so far. On exactly frame 89 of the original video, 9 lines of binary code are visible. Now, if we put this into a binary translator, we get this. Alright, we have the word brain fudge, now what? Well, if you actually paid attention to the video, you would have realized that in the description and the pinned comment for some reason, there was a link. Also, there was an arrow pointing towards the description on frame 42, but now it's gone. After clicking on the link, you're greeted by a lot of mathematical signs, 2,514 to be exact. At this point in my initial run, I was stuck. That was until I tainted my innocent search history by googling brain frick and finding out that it was actually a programming language. Instinctively, I searched brain flip decoder and put the symbols into a translator. At first I thought I got some sort of debug message, but the random numbers and link were in fact the next clue. The link led to a deleted mega file, which probably wasn't that important anyways. Looking at the numbers, I recalled seeing the word Polybius at the end of the video. Polybius wasn't just an arcade game the FBI used to test out mind control, it was also the name of a Greek historian. He actually created a cipher named after himself. Again, I put the numbers into a translator and this time got the word tradition. This seemed to be a dead end, so I returned to the link from earlier. Remember how I said that it wasn't important? Well, the download supposedly had a spot where you could input a password and see a message. So without that file, we'll never get to see the end of the ARG. When I realized the ARG was unsolvable, I was utterly disappointed. Not only had I just wasted 8 whole minutes trying to figure this thing out, but it seemed that others had suffered a similar fate. In an attempt to find the file, I decided to contact the people who had solved the puzzle back in 2017. Well, that turned out to be harder than I anticipated. After contacting about 3 people and receiving no responses, I decided to call off the investigation. That was until recently where I decided to give it another shot. However, this time I knew what I was getting into. With my hopes set low, I analyzed all 90 comments, a lot of which were useless since they were published after the file was deleted. I started by looking for when exactly the file went missing, and the earliest comment I could find was OscarOsso3's, which reads,
"Did the download break?"
Now that I knew which comments to look at, I could finally begin a more thorough investigation. I began by going through every channel that commented to see if they maybe had other social media accounts I could contact them through. The first one was a bust, while the second and third were pretty unlikely to respond. The same thing rang true for the next 3, and I was beginning to lose hope again. Would I really have to become a VTuber until I had enough followers to get verified on Twitter so that I could DM Jonathan? As I clicked on the 7th comment, I expected another dry page. To my surprise, I instead found a TF2 enthusiast who didn't know how to rocket jump. After some digging, I found a link to his Steam account and added him. I didn't think he'd accept it, but after about 2 minutes, he messaged me some weird code, but I wasn't able to decipher this one. His tomfoolery could not stop me from seeking the truth. I asked him bluntly, and he replied with a very stern, "What?" I was realizing that this man wasn't going to give up his act this easily. I sent him a screenshot of his comment, and after what felt like 6 minutes, I was back at square one. With a sigh, I returned to the comment section and continued on my quest. The next comment was by a certain robot underscore, and it opened a whole rabbit hole of its own. Long story short, I found his Discord server and didn't receive any DMs. It might have been due to the fact that I didn't message them first, but they were probably just jealous of my YouTube following. The next 11 profiles contained mixtures of no socials, a deleted Twitter, and the Twitter account of a Polish Minecraft server. I tried to join it, but I couldn't move nor speak Lithuanian. Then I found Dinglido, who didn't have anything linked to their YouTube, but I still managed to find their Discord tag despite the odds. Once again, there was a very slim chance that he had the old file, but it was worth a shot. I explained the situation to him, and he told me that he did in fact solve it. Was this it? Had I just found someone who still had the sacred script? As you can probably tell by how much time is left in this chapter, no. Dingley said that he solved it, but he had done so on his old laptop, which had been reformatted, quote, 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand what this meant exactly, but I could tell that he couldn't provide me with the file. There were only about 15 people left to possibly solve the puzzle, so I resumed digging. This time, I had to sift through 10 whole channels before I was able to find anyone I could contact. I left comments on a few of them, but so far haven't heard back from any. Tak Hans was my next suspect. Let's just say that they post interesting content. Their Twitter was easy to find, so I messaged them. They explained to me that they never put in the time to solve it, but they wished me luck on my search. I thanked them and climbed back into the comment ravine. I checked the next profile and remembered that this was one of the few people I tried to contact 7 months ago. I found the comment I left on their channel and was surprised to see that they actually replied. Apparently, my YouTube settings were set up in a way where I hadn't received a notification of their response. Giona had been one of the few people to claim that they actually solved it, so I was excited to hear what they had to say. Unfortunately, they didn't have a copy of the file, but they were able to tell me something. They recalled that it was just some brain frick code that would print the solution. I'm not entirely sure if they were referring to the part that's already been solved, but it seems likely that it could be the actual ending. Next on the list was Simon Ghoul, a self-proclaimed. Although it took me many minutes to find a method of contact, I finally did, and on Reddit of all places. He gave me a straightforward, nah. Then he messaged me on Twitter. I was confused as to how he found it, but then realized that I accidentally messaged him there too. They gave me a longer response this time and said something I was worried about hearing. Maybe ask Jschlatt. I immediately blocked them and continued on the search. Only 2 people were left. The first one was a dead end, and so was the second. My journey had come to an abrupt halt, and I slowly began to realize that I only had one option left. As you just saw, I, like the many others who came before me, was fruitless in finding the file. After hearing the perils I've gone through, I hope you too see the appeal of recovering this elusive file and maybe even want to join in on the hunt yourself. If so, the best way to contribute is just by sharing this video. That way, more people will see it and in turn, perhaps someone with the file. Maybe Jschlatt himself will even hear about this and re-release the thing. Before you ask, I won't be linking you to the original video. You've seen everything there is to see right here, so I'll politely ask you not to go searching for it. It would be nice to preserve the video's current state. On a final note, I'd like to thank everyone who was kind enough to reply to my awkward questions and allow me to feature you. This video took way too long to produce, so I'd like to thank you for watching until the end. I genuinely appreciate it. We'll be seeing each other again in about, hopefully less than 5 months this time.